Breaking news, as Warner Brothers has canceled the Fantastic Beasts franchise, and what's astounding is that Warner Brothers, they tried to sneak this one through. That's right, they tried to quote-unquote quietly dump the series while no one was watching. Why? Because when people start talking about that, they not only talk about the win for JD, but they start talking about Aquaman and AH, and that is a problem, and a big problem for Warner Brothers, as accidentally confirmed by the man in charge himself, David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sadly for Warner Brothers, this plan, it doesn't work out. And this becomes a big win for JD because even the media is now admitting that getting rid of him, that was a mistake. The way that Warner Brothers did this, it cost them a franchise. And what truly takes the prize is that this Warner vindication with that series failing, it comes with Disney-led vindication with the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, that failing as well. You and I, we're going to talk about all of this stuff today, too. Oh, man, fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Talk about another win for JD. I mean, when it comes to Fantastic Beasts 3, a lot of people don't really understand just how badly this movie it performed. If you look at the first one, you're talking $811 million. The second one, it wasn't well written. It had a lot of problems, but with JD there, you still made around $650 million. And then, with all the controversy by part 3, $400 million comes in, which is a disaster of epic proportions when you consider this show, it had a production budget of $200 million. When you advertise like they did, you double that. So you're talking about $400 million that you have to recuperate. That $400 million that they made, yeah, they only get around 50% of that. So we are talking about a flop, and a monster flop at that. Now, what's really interesting about this cancellation is that the media, they're telling you that Fantastic Beasts, it was dumped quietly, like I was saying, to the point nobody was made aware of this. I mean, they just dropped it by the wayside. They didn't want to say anything about it at all. And the coverage coming out from the media, that it seems to be changing. I mean, in the past, Warner Brothers, they seem to get a pass for all of their bad actions. You know, the JD stuff, it would get buried, wouldn't even come up in articles. Now, you have the media saying, yeah, there was supposed to be 5 movies in this thing. All of this failure, though, it ended up whittling it down to 3. Why was there failure? Well, Ezra Miller, JD's replacement with Mads Mikkelsen, and Ezra Miller as the face of that franchise, which again brings scrutiny for the movies. It brings up the topic of not only JD, but also AH in more articles, which always leads back to Aquaman. That is the thing that terrifies Warner Brothers more than anything. Now, as far as the reasons all of this is happening too, you don't have to take my word on that either. Oh no, just look at what David Zaslav, the guy in charge, he's been saying about all of this. I mean, he's recently been talking about franchises, how Warner Brothers, they're going to have their success on franchises. He wants to have success with Harry Potter. He wants to have success with other items as well. And if you look down here, he says, well, we have a lot of those too. We have Batman. We have Superman. We have Aquaman. If we want, we could get something done with JK on Harry Potter moving forward. Lord of the Rings. What are we going to do with Game of Thrones? What are we going to do with a lot of the big franchise? We're focusing on those franchises. Yeah, hard to focus on something when every single time that thing comes up. You can't control the narrative. So like I said, behind the scenes, that terrifies these people because they know the damage. It's not just one franchise, it's many franchises. And this is a company that is in dire disarray right now. Now, what's beautiful about this admission is that Warner Brothers isn't the only one that screwed up and screwed up epically on the JDAH front. You also had Disney do this as well, and Disney, they just admitted to that too, and shutting down their own franchise. This would have been the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, the one that would star Margot Robbie. You know, the one that they talked about from 2020, telling you we're going to replace everything. Not because of JD though, no, because of diversity and because of inclusion in movies that already had it. Well, Margot Robbie tells you, yeah, that got sacked too. Listen to this here. We had an idea, and we were developing it for a while, ages ago, to have more of a female-led, not totally female-led, but just a different kind of story, which we thought would have been really cool, but I guess they didn't want to do that. Now, as far as Disney is concerned, though, at least they shut all of this down before they invested money in it. Plus, they could go in, they could spin this in the aftermath saying, yeah, you know, we saw the court case, we saw what was going on, and we understand, maybe we got it wrong. Warner Brothers, they don't have that luxury at all. So what do they want you to do? They want you to forget that this franchise even existed, so they can go out, they can pretend nothing happened, nothing went wrong. They didn't back a monster and cancel somebody in the process. And hey, they can make money with Aquaman. They can make money with a Harry Potter reboot. Everything's good to go, right? Now, what's funny is that Warner Brothers knew that this was a big problem for them even before these movies came out, too. I mean, you can see it in the behavior of people that were attached to Fantastic Beasts. You can see it in the damage control. You can see it in so many things that they did. For example, you had David Heyman. He was coming out. He was supposed to be hyping up the third part. Instead, he let loose a little revelation. The idea they hadn't even started writing the fourth movie yet. Why? Because they knew. They knew that there was going to be a problem. I mean, this isn't a surprise that they canceled it. It's not a surprise that they want to ghost it, but it's a surprise that they think they can get away with all of this. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this stuff. And as always, let me know. I appreciate you. You make this stuff work. Links are in the description. Check those out. Help out the channel too. Share. Make sure everyone sees this. But appreciate you. Going to end here. Thanking you again. And we will see you soon.